out here on the peaceful walk like nobody. It's a beautiful former supermodel walking. I mean, it's like she's like 6'2" or something, and like just radiates like Euro elegance. I think she's like German or Switzerlander or something like that. whole group of her and her daughters, like just all, you could just tell that they're just going to be able to choose whatever alpha Chad prince, that they wish, at a certain point. As I called it, Sweeneys are around. The stovepipe leg, tight, nice, and, shows off the rear end. It's stovepipe legs, not too stovepipey, and sandals or simple sneakers are popping up, and mane of natural hair. I've been noticing that. This is the look: white top, mane of natural hair, or a simple top, mane of natural hair. Yeah, it's so the look has changed. You're already seeing Sweeney has won. So I want to talk a bit. Oh, and then so I had an interesting. So you might have noticed, I've been posting, little outfits that, and so because I was starting to get fat. I am fat, definitely for me. And the men in my family, there's weight sets right in the belly, no place else, only in the belly. So it really hit me. I was like, okay, I gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do this, gotta do that. So what really started to hit me is I was like, yeah, I'm having too many sugary things and sugary beverages and libations and such, and that'll lead to me eating a whole bunch of Italian food or something, and so you have to warm up, and all the things you're not supposed to do. Nothing but cheat meals. Living on those cheat meals. And except for when, it's like, oh no, I just want the simple thing, meat, kimchi. One of my key go-tos. Meat and kimchi. And so I was like, yeah, okay. So this company, this brand, it was Paul Jones, maybe. Something popped up. It was a deal. And I was like, I don't know. This is a pretty cheap suit. But I keep looking up things in, tweed suits and this and that. So I said, large is what's recommended for you. I'm like, oh, now I'm a large. So I got it. It was less than $100. And so you can imagine, I'm like, we'll see how this goes. We'll see how bad this is. And it looks great. It actually looks really good. And what hit me was I'd gotten a separate vest for it, and I was like, okay, this has worked out inordinately well. Like, it was far better than I thought it would. So, inordinately. No, it worked out just way better than I thought it would. I pulled a homer. So, the thing is, though, it hit me. I was like, okay, let's see. I bought a scale many years ago. I finally take this thing down, and I just couldn't believe what it said. I'm like, fuck. Okay, that's it. So now I'm like totally like, I'm driven now because I'm like 10 pounds lighter. Shouldn't even be difficult in my case. And on top of it, it'll make this suit look even, like, it'll be really nice. And I've already got buttons, so I could start putting in suspender buttons on a lot of things. Because it has a slightly adjustable waist. So I'm like, no. I'm going to have to put in suspender buttons. Oh, no. Braces. Oh, no. Here we go. But it's so just something I was having fun with, because nice menswear that's not very expensive is getting to a stage that it's like, no, this is something that really, with a steamer and an iron, like a place, a way of, say you have like a clean bucket in case there's something you want to wash by hand with certain chemicals and stuff, or not. However you're doing it, this is very possible now. It's very cheap, and steam cleaners have become shockingly inexpensive and very versatile in their lack of expense and size. And so I was just very impressed. The whole experience has been pretty darn great so far. And yeah, so there was that. Okay, so that's on the lighter side of things. And now for more serious subjects. One of the ones that came up, Tim Pool was reporting, apparently somebody started buying lots of first responder and police uniforms mysteriously, with weird credit card kind of forensics came up, and so there's a warning out. You might encounter somebody who's not a police officer dressed as one if you're someplace, and with first responders, this would give you a certain kind of idea of what would be going on. That this would probably be a crowd thing, stuff like that. So they're saying that there's really a warning out for this now. Now there's apparently somebody pointed out, said no, just start looking up people getting arrested and being put on with terrorism charges. Now this is happening, people are getting swept up from stuff they're saying on the internet. And then other things where, there's people showing up to things with weapons and such. So now it's really this thing of, well, now the left is unleashed. So a part of this, remember our friend Eric Hoffer, true believer, thoughts on the nature of mass movements, and how we just walked through every step watching the Democrats and the left go through it. That with the right, because of the nature of how divided the different parts of the right are, and on principle, fundamental principles about certain things, which most people think are minutia. If they don't get culturally why that's important, they would just consider it minutia. But it was actually really important, because at some point it would mean there's some kind of ends of Christianity in the right wing that are much more tough on criminals. They're just and it doesn't offend their theology. Then there's others that their theology is just simply much more. They're trying to rehabilitate the person, seeing that as the call. That's what the call is. It's a moment where this person now can finally, be called back to do the right thing rather than the wrong thing, and that's the reason why you get, prepared for so long to teach the gospel and this and that. So you see, and now because the left had no interest in this, because the left didn't care about us, where we were fascinated that the left, through a veil of this thing called the progressives, were more and more letting Marxist Leninist ideas into the party. And that was it. The camel's nose under the tent, and now you guys are cooked. You're a party that has now too many Marxist Leninists as the the body, the body of your group there, and now, so not only did Eric Hoffer map out this idea of what is a mass movement, they gave lots of examples, beautiful examples, it was so simply written, but he really got into this thing of like the stages of the mass movement, who joins a mass movement and why, what does the mass movement promise to people, and more there was nothing heading off the left. It just kept going further and further. And then the one of the worst was the lack of there being any punishment when, like, say, terms of service were violated, things like that. So it was that, no, this is a voice uncontested, and it's righteousness as well. Everybody knows that they're correct, you see. And there's not a way back from that. Once you do that and everyone sees it, and they're like, oh, okay, got it. Like, they're really in charge. You know, these streamers, these leftist streamer types, and these guys who get eyes on it. But then there was a part of it, I remember when thinking of it that way, I started to think, wait, remember there was a period of time where it was kind of clearly disingenuous. You know, you're like, really? You guys are that's who's really the brains of these 20-year-old streamers and stuff, you know. And while the right was reading Hayek and Thomas Sowell and discussing and like really profoundly interesting works, and when you would find, like, no, the left is quoting only themselves, where the right loves citing the left on itself. Like, one of the most fascinating was the irony that the whole MGTOW new masculinity kind of movement hinged on Robert Briefolt's The Mothers and a line from that book, because somebody was like, yeah, you know he's a socialist, right? And I was like, what? Look up any other works by him, and and I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, I'm going to look into this, because it's just fascinating that why would the socialists throw out somebody who had such magnificent insights on sexual relations and such a magnificent collection of observations about sexual relations all over the planet, and then how this makes, in pre-civilized societies and uncivilized societies, you get this group, the mothers, who run things. So this is very much like what you see in kind of the poorest settings of some parts of Americana, is this brood of these women who kind of run the show, but nothing ever changes for anybody, nothing ever improves, really, until it's men who are doing the improving of things. And so it was kind of fascinating then to find something like BLM, where they were trying to, eschew this idea of black masculinity in their circle, and this, that, and the other. And because this was this Marxist-Leninist, a concept of theirs, and gender egalitarianism and this, that, and the other. So I was like, okay, you guys do know, though, that that's what's observed in uncivilized Africa. In undeveloped Africa, that's what's normal. In places that require white women to go there in the Peace Corps to build them, stronger thatch huts. That's that's how things kind of run. Now there's a lot of you guys who, that a long time ago you picked up on kind of the irony of it, and that, like, one of the most interesting parts of the irony was that I picked up one of Briefolt's other works. And Briefolt's other work was this entire thing where he debated, I believe, an Russian Orthodox, and they were debating marriage. This would have been the 1970s. So they had this French-British socialist arguing with this Orthodox Christian back in the 70s that marriage was that monogamy and this whole history that he establishes in the Mothers is like, no, this is Christian in its nature. This is normal to the species. This is one group that does this, like in this way. And I like that for him, this was this beautifully shocking statement to say. What do you mean the whole world really? Yeah. This developed out of the Greco-Roman world and and this and that. He probably would have been those people too, who would have been like, no, there was no acceptance of homosexuality in the Greek and Roman world. Like, no, oh my gosh, oh no, maybe prior to civilization, but no, you couldn't even be, was it Sparta, I believe, couldn't be a citizen if you were a man suspected of homosexuality or something like that. So this period of time where the left pulled in all this Marxist-Leninist stuff, Charlie Kirk was doing so well, really because arguing against Marxist-Leninist factoids is not that difficult. You just have to be really on how they twist the language and dodge and dip. Because really, Marxist-Leninists are unknowledgeable people, is the key to it. They really rely so heavily on this kind of cudgel of these debate tricks that they're always using. And now we're seeing most of the left openly starts to just go along with this. This is what they're about. They're down with the Marxist-Leninist diatribes. And this make-believe world that they believe and they can't prove. That no metrics. Thomas Sowell beat them as far as the metrics, and really, I mean, like, really pummels them. With like, not here's the metrics, but then beyond that. And it's even more stuff that it's like, and to buttress my argument, even further, or the counter to what the liberals are saying. And so now it's the beauty of it is everywhere that our blue enclaves are also just dying on the vine. Some of the greatest real estate in the history of the world, but no. It's run by liberals, so it's all fucked up. And so I'm really Charlie Kirk. You guys could not beat him. You simply had no capacity to beat him, and he just made you look so fucking stupid. And now you're dancing around like, oh yeah, he's gone, and it's like, I don't think you clearly don't really understand. He was a late comer in a sense. He wasn't on Bloodsport. That was a whole other crew of people. Those people have already come and gone. They've already proven their point. There's people who now, they're like 10, 15 years older than you, and they have to sit there and go, oh my God, I remember Jim Medeker at one time on Bloodsport. And they're like, Jim Medeker? And they got to put on like the Tumblristas video, where he totally humiliated the social justice warriors back in those days. Kurt came along later, and he was really forged by having to walk the gauntlet. Because first, because of, and technically it really was his theology. His theology was such that he had this point of view about how to treat other people and how to treat the left, that he really wanted to pull the left in. Winning was convincing them. Winning is convincing them. For a lot of others, they were like, let them drown. I'm not Noah. This ain't my town. Fuck these people. Let them drown. And they accepted actually something a long time ago. Anarcho-capitalist Stefan Molyneux got into, where he actually touches on this whole idea of, no, you're going to have to just accept that there's people who want to drown. And you go, and you keep telling them the water's getting higher, come with me, this and that. They'll see it, they'll have every reason to believe you, but they won't do it. They won't finally come with you. And you're going to have to accept that, no, they wanted to drown, apparently. And he's like, you won't be able to save. He's like, you won't be able to save them. Now, he's an anarcho-capitalist. He has a different theology than a lot of other people on the right. So this was his point of view, and it was because he was forged in by poverty. He was forged by serious white poverty in the old Commonwealth. And so people just, the left nothing could stop the left becoming a mass movement that it has now ended up going through all the stages of it and getting to where most of these mass movements that Hoffer makes the example of, and they were violent, political, violent mass movements. He also makes some mass movement references to various religions, too. It's very interesting how he does it. But you've gone through all the stages, the way that Hayek writes about the rise of violent socialists and such, and how there are philosophers who are doing, engaging in this and whipping people up, and there's why these ones, went racial while these ones went this way. And you've arrived. You're there. You've arrived. You've become who Hayek saw back in the 30s. You guys did it. You guys have earned that through hard work. So that's, I get to be, to be normal, oh my God, like violence, that's not good. You guys don't want that. You want the water. As an old gospel song, you want the water. So, yeah, good luck.